Hi everyone, welcome to Generation Change podcast. So I'm Jessica
And I'm Denisha.
and we are from Generation Change.
So, what exactly is Generation Change going to do with today's podcast? Well, we are hoping to create an awareness initiative with two primary goals. Firstly, to foster a heightened understanding of gender inequality, both within Malaysia and on a global scale among the general public. Secondly, we want to equip and inform youth with the requisite knowledge and competencies to effectively combat this pervasive issue. Well, what exactly is gender inequality? Gender equality, particularly within developing nations, stands as an acute concern that necessitates urgent attention. Well, Jess, have you faced any issues regarding gender inequality throughout your life?
Yes, I do. Actually, it's quite happened a lot, and I feel like during 2023 now, I think we should really focus on gender equal. Is because we are kind of backwards on this right now. To be honest, yeah. What about you?
Cool. I think I faced quite multiple times on gender inequality, especially at a very young age, actually, in primary school, where boys were given more opportunities than girls, which made me really pissed. So I'm glad, as a podcaster today with Jessie, we get to talk about gender inequality. So with the rapid surge of women in workforce, it becomes imperative to fortify equality across domains encompassing opportunities, remuneration, benefits, and various other pertinent aspects. The central thrust of this project resides in the cultivation of awareness from an early stage, thereby nurturing the growth of prospective leaders who will steer the charge towards gender parity.
Within the context of this initiative, our podcast will be exposing you, the listeners, to myriad pricing and issues that underscore the significance of gender equality. We will be covering topics ranging from the fundamental right to birth control, vexing predicaments of the pink tax, which is very important, the necessity of equal opportunity, and many more. Tune in to our podcast every day and listen to the breakdowns and discussions surrounding the system upholding gender equality in our day-to-day life.
Okay, so our theme for the upcoming 2 months would be about STEM and what we have to face as gender inequality in the workforces of STEM. So sometimes when we're thinking about gender equality versus equity in the context of STEM, we might get confused, like maybe equality and equity means the same thing, but actually it does not feel the same at all. Equality and equity, what exactly does that mean? Well, the concept of gender equality versus gender equity would be categorized under gender equality, which emphasizes on equal opportunities and rights for all kinds of genders. Gender equity, on the other hand, focuses on addressing historical disadvantages and providing a specific support towards marginalized groups, especially and including women. So sometimes when we're thinking about gender equality or equity, which one should we pay the most attention to? What do you guys think? Stay tuned for the comment section as well.
Overview of gender disparities in STEM field. In the higher educations, only 35% of our students enrolled in the STEM-related fields are females. Today, only 28% of all of the world researchers are quality of the learning experience for female students and limit their education choice. It is called Cracking the Code: Girls and Women Education in STEM. Girls interested in STEM subjects decline significantly as they progress career by the age of 15. Source: OECD, the ABC of Gender Equality in Education. The figure stands at 24% in the United States and 17% in the European Union, 16% in Japan, and 14% in India.
Well, the disparities persist throughout various stages of STEM education and career advancement. First, it will be present throughout multiple stages of education, which would indicate preschool to postgraduate. Well, speaking from my experience, I've already faced gender inequality at a very young age. I would say maybe at the age of 9 or 10, where I was in primary and people started to discriminate me because of my gender. Some would say, "You're a girl, you shouldn't be doing this. You're a girl, you shouldn't be taking this one." Which says a lot about our education system in STEM, especially when we have to go through so many things in life. Well, second, the societal norms and biases dissuade young girls from pursuing scientific and technical disciplines, perpetuating the underrepresentation of women in these fields. Think about it. The amount of people and the amount of men who are in the STEM field always mount up more than girls. Why exactly is that? The disparities persist, am I right? Now, as women progress through higher education, they encounter hurdles ranging from implicit bias in classroom dynamics to the scarcity of female role models and mentors. These obstacles accumulate, which one would say leaky pipeline theory, where talented women face significant attrition rates as they navigate the transition from academia to industry or leadership positions. Now, have a good think about it. How many women in our modern world have or own a leadership position? Not much, right? Don't you think this needs a change? Last but not least, a persistent barrier to career advancement, such as discriminatory hiring practices, unequal access to opportunities, and limited support to work-life balance, further exacerbate the gender gap in STEM fields.
Reside behind those disparities, personal norms and gender expectations of both women and men shape societal perceptions of scientific and technically industry, creating a culture that discourages a girl and woman from pursuing STEM field, providing belief in a man's intellectual superiority in the midst of innate gender and a lead to a different treatments, limited opportunity and discouragements of female participations, right, structure and institution barrier between education systems, and thus understanding of such a viewpoint at all. The challenge faced by women in STEMs implicit bias and stereotypes that hinder women progress in STEM. Example includes societal expectations and stereotypes, such as the belief that women are not as naturally inclined toward maths and science, which can discourage girls from pursuing STEM field. Lack of representations role model discuss the importance of presentations in the STEM industry, discuss the under-representations of opportunity of aspiring women in STEMs. Maybe we can name a specific female STEM role models that you know of. Okay.
I would say I pick Marie Curie because, as we know, she is one of the leading scientists from many of those days ago, and I quite look up to her especially as a student and female in the STEM role, because without her, I wouldn't have my deep-seated interest in physics. And now, because of Marie, I am pursuing a minor in physics as well, Marie. So a big shout out to Marie for giving women and female who want to venture into STEM such a big inspiration towards us all. Shout out to you, Marie.
That's good to hear. So, workplace culture and discriminations, maybe we can actually sit down and discuss with our friends about discriminations, hostile work environments that women may encounter in the STEM field. Discuss incidents of gender-based discriminations, maybe included unequal pay, limited access to promotions, or a lack of support for a work-life balance. empathize the needs of inclusivity? Maybe you can share your own stories too.
So when we think about gender inequality, gender equality, gender equity, what are these strategies for us as this year's and this time's generation to promote gender equity? So let me say, first, we can explore actionable strategies and initiatives both by us, the society, and people from older generations, because why not take the big change, right? So in the early education and intervention, we can always talk about the importance of promoting STEM education and engagement among girls from an early age. This initiative shows that we get to target schools and educational institutions from a very young age to provide equal opportunities and resources for girls, especially girls, to explore and excel in STEM subjects, which would indicate biology, physics, chemistry, probably further maths as well. Well, mentorship and support networks that foster the growth and success of women in STEM also plays a very significant role in promoting gender equity. Mentorship initiates that pairs experienced professionals with aspiring women that they can look up to, and girls who provide guidance, encouragement, and always career advice. Well, third, we can also dismantle biasness in hiring and promotional practices within STEM fields. And why do you think we should dismantle biasness in hiring and promotional practices? Take a look at our normal daily lives. Why do people often think men can take the most heaviest workload? Why can't women? We're just the same. We're all human beings. What difference does it make if a woman does a man's job? It doesn't. Why are we labeling jobs as a man's job? Carrying heavy objects. Does it have to always be a man's job? No. Women of all gender, of all race could do it too. Why are we putting this biasness in our workforce, which literally is why women don't want to enter the STEM field, because of the biasness in hiring and promotional practices in our everyday lives. So instead of giving people the biasness towards men, why don't we make the big change? Why don't we give women the same criteria as men, the diversity training, and include policies to create a all level playing field for all the employees, men and women, irrespective of all genders. Like I said, equal opportunities for men and women. Last but not least, the policy changes and advocacy at institutional and governmental levels to promote gender equity in STEM. Well, what are the examples of policies and initiatives which the government could take, which would be successful in reducing gender disparities, such as equitable family-friendly policies, funding for women-led research projects in all STEM fields? It could be diabetes research, cancer research, doesn't matter, as long as it's funding, right? And targeted recruitment efforts, both equal, and for men. So we sadly, unfortunately, by all means, we have reached the end of our first ever podcast for Roots and Shoots Malaysia's Awards Generation Change. So us, Generation Change, we're here to help you understand and dismantle these disparities that require a comprehensive approach that addresses systemic biasness, fosters inclusive of educational environments, that implements policies and practices promoting gender equity at every stage of STEM education and professional growth.
I would like to invite every one of you to continue the conversation by sharing your thoughts and experience on social media using the hashtag Generation Change. As we reach the end of this podcast episode, let's take a moment to reflect on what we have learned today. Clear that the road to achieving true gender equality in the STEM field is quite bumpy. Remember that change starts with awareness and actions. So wherever you are, budding scientist, a curious listener, or just someone passionate about making the world a fairer place, let's keep the conversation going. Together, we can challenge stereotypes, uplift underrepresented voice, create an inclusive future where everyone's have a chance to shine like a supernova in the vast cosmos of STEAMs.
See you next podcast. This is Denisha,
And this is Jessie.
and we're signing out.
See you!
Bye bye.